Looks like COVID is over. Well, only if you want to rally, right? If you want to rally, if you want to protest, if you want to be out there and you want to riot, if you have some sort of a gripe and you can get out there in mass, well, government's not going to stop you. But if you want to be out there and you want to protest about whether or not it's okay to kill your unborn child, government isn't going to be out there to stop you. If you want to go to church, on the other hand, that might be another story for another time. But as you can see, people are out here in mass, no sorts of social distancing. And of course, everybody would say, well, they're wearing masks, but I can see that lady right there not wearing a mask. I can see that lady right there not wearing a mask, etc. Right? So I'm sure there's plenty of people that are out here without a mask. And realistically speaking, the little masks that most people wear, those little cloth masks, do absolutely nothing for you in terms of stopping viruses. Those little virus particles, they just pass right on through. Even though some people may try to get you to believe otherwise, if they really worked, we'd be wearing them in the hospital, but we don't. In any event, this is what we have going on here in Washington, D.C. The march to I want the choice to kill my unborn baby, and I want it now, and I need to protect it. This is for Ruth. Right? So if you're out here and you want to protest and you want to say no justice, no peace, if you're out here and you want to say you're a pro-lifer, or of course you're for life, or you're for abortion, etc., then of course there will be no police out there that are gonna wrangle you up like the old Jews out here in Brooklyn. But in places like New York, of course, where we have mass unemployment, right? New York City 16%, Bronx 25%, Brooklyn 20%, Brooklyn 21%, Queens just shy 19.9%. In terms of the unemployment rate, and they'll tell you, well, your business is not essential, right? Your job is not viewed as essential, so you need to stay home and hope for an unemployment check and pray that we keep those laws about you not getting kicked out of your home because you can't pay your rent. You better hope that the government still keeps those in place until they feel like letting you go back to work. But hey, if you want to go out there and protest, we will sure let you do that. If you want to go to these, what they refer to when they're Republican, when they refer to them as the super spreader rallies. As you can see, there is quite a lot of people. There's thousands of people that are basically out here in Washington, D.C. As you can see, this stretches pretty far back, right? And so, like I said, no sorts of social distancing. There's plenty of people who aren't wearing a mask. And even if they are, these masks, of course, do not help you in terms of spreading viral particles, as they're pretty much open on the tops and on the sides. And of course, they're not thin enough. I should say they are thin enough for viral particles to basically just pass on through. But of course, this is what most people are taught, that they need to wear a mask. Here in New York, I actually went out yesterday, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I see a young couple walking in the street all by their lonesome. And I see both of them wearing a mask. And I'm like, ain't nobody out here. Who are you trying to protect, or who are you protecting yourself from? But this is what happened. The sheep believe whatever it is that their local politicians say. Some people just want to go along to get along. And the whole time, they could literally be giving away their civil liberties. And they wouldn't even care. As long as they've got a mask on and they feel safe in their little comfort space, they'll continue to do whatever it is that the government tells them to do as they march on into concentration camps. It's like people just don't learn from history, which is pretty sad. Like I said, you can take a look at what's going on out here. As far as I can tell, COVID is over. And you actually read the if you actually read the comments in these things, those people will say, this is more important. This is worth the risk. Isn't it worth the risk for me to be able to provide for my family, for me to be able to put food on the table, to keep a roof over their head, to make sure that I can buy medications as necessary and put clothing on their back so that I can save for the future? People will be like, well, no, that's not important. This is more important. It's more important for me, or for the lady that I'm simping for, to be able to have the right to choose to kill her baby if she so chooses. Maybe she had sex with the wrong guy on the wrong night, decided not to use protection, got herself pregnant. And, well, she wants the right to be able to kind of avoid the consequences for those actions. In America, and of course in New York is actually number 1 in terms of abortions. Does not surprise me that a liberal state like New York would be number 1. Across the country, we've had over 600,000 abortions. Yes, it is down. I predominantly think it's down because we see a lot more men that are kind of opting out of relationships. I believe there's a higher concentration or a higher number of men who are not, especially younger men who are not sexually active. And so that, of course, attributes to the lower number. We kind of see more men probably waking up to the way women are nowadays. And so a lot of men are just like, it's just not worth the squeeze. The juice is not worth the squeeze. And so we see a lot less women, of course, that are getting pregnant. There's a lot of women out there that are looking for relationships and can't find one. And so, of course, all of that leads to a lower abortion rate. We're also seeing marriage and divorce, marriage at an all-time low, divorce at an all-time high. And of course, baby making at an all-time low as well. And so all of that leads to lower numbers as more men are just basically opting out. Not worth it. Not worth it. So we see the numbers drop. It's not because women are being more responsible with their reproductive powers. It's that more men are just being like, you know what? Too risky for me. Too risky nowadays. So basically a lot of men are either traveling overseas or just basically abstaining until maybe they luckily come across someone that they deem to be a little bit more worth their time. But like I said, in terms of COVID, you tell me. You think these people are afraid of COVID? In terms of politicians, you think you're going to see any politicians out there saying you shouldn't be out here marching because of COVID? Probably not. You think the police are going to be out here making arrests? I highly doubt it. But if you want to go to work, might be deemed a super spreader event. You feel like going to church? Can't happen. You want to see grandma in the nursing home? No. We can't have that. But if you want to go out here in March, there are a number of other activities that basically the government will allow you to do that are deemed not super spreader events where COVID will kind of not show up. Hey, kind of is what it is. When will you people wake up?